welcome to the debut episode of the Nfc Beast. We got myself, we got Cool McCain, we got Wise. We're gonna go some more introductions in a minute. Sam, and then we got Coach Couch. But this is the Nfc Beast, the brainchild of the one and only Wise.
This wasn't my brainchild. This is Cool's brainchild.
Really?
It was all cool.
I was invited by Wise, so I thought
I invited you, but it was all cool.
Nfc Beast, thank you everybody for tuning in. Debut episode. Let me get out of the way first. We're live on a variety of different platforms. We're live on the Play Callers. We're live on Shady Sports Network, BS3 Network. This is all on YouTube. Eagles Elite, also the BS3 Network group. And if you have a Roku TV or device, we are live on BS3 TV on Roku. So we're live in a variety of different areas. There is no excuse how you cannot say, oh, I missed it. It's a podcast. It's available everywhere. Okay, it'll be available tomorrow and the day after that. So you can tune in at any point in time. But let's get to some introductions. We're going to go over to Cool McCain first.
What's going on, everybody? I can't take all the credit as a brainchild. Sam, my man for Shady Sports Network, we kind of got together and started talking about some different things, and this is the idea that we came up with. So I can't take all the credit. I'm not that type of guy. But you can catch me on several different things. We'll talk about that later. I'm just excited to be here. As you can see, I'm an Eagles fan, so definitely love the division. Fight amongst each other, we give each other a hard time. But at the end of the day, we are the best division. We the Beast.
We'll get to that in a minute. All right, Wise.
It's WIZE. I'm host of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I'm also co-host of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson on Thursdays and Fridays. And I'm just here with my NFC brethren, and we're just going to have a good time.
Cool. Coach Couch in the building.
What's going on, fellas? And we here. Obviously, I'm the host of the Couch Coach Live podcast and also my Washington Commander-centric podcast, Commanders in the Chat. And like Echo the Cinnamon says, these guys, this is the best division in NFL, bar none. These gentlemen here, we're going to fight. But if you fight with one of these guys outside of this group, all of us coming for you. So don't attack my brothers. You coming for all of us.
All right. And Sam Shady.
Thank you. Super excited to be here with you guys. First of all, I wanted to get that off my chest. And with that being said, I'm representing Shady Sports Network. You can find us basically everywhere, more or less Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, all your favorite social media platforms. But like I said, super excited to talk with you guys tonight, specifically about the best division in the NFL.
All right,
let's go.
All right, we got a couple people in a couple chat comments already. Shout out to my man Courtney Harden. He's a part of BS3 Network. If y'all don't know him, he is an Eagles fan. He lives in Philly, so he said Eagles fans heavy in the building. So he can be excited.
Yeah, we're kind of outnumbered on the panel.
We outnumbered. We outnumbered. I'm already on the line right now trying to recruit a Cowboys and a Commanders fan right now. So we got to even this thing up. But
hey, I'm actually working on trying to get a Commanders fan that might be able to do it at least partially as well. So I'm trying to help everybody out. You know what I'm saying?
Cole said he had a Commanders fan for us. So
yeah, I actually discussed with him, just waiting to see how the discussions go.
All right.
Okay. Cool. So it's the debut episode, so we kind of filling it out. We got a couple topics we're going to talk about. Obviously, one of the biggest things out of this division, the Dak injury. So we'll get into that. Some the fantasy football implications of that. Week 2 coming up for each one of our teams, and let's kind of recap week 1 first. How do you feel about your teams? How it went? I don't feel good. I'll just kick it right off the rip. Every possible thing that could have gone wrong went wrong. So I don't have a lot of positive things. If you've heard me on Snowman in the Morning, I have not been happy-go-lucky about these Cowboys, and I'm gonna be straight up honest every time I talk because I'm not sugarcoating nothing about these boys. But cool. How you feeling about week 1? Cool. Cool and Sam, since you outnumbering us.
Well, I'll say, man, from my perspective, a win's a win. I think a lot to clean up defensively. I'm not a fan of my defensive coordinator, and it's not one game. I know there's a lot of people that, they see this game and they say, oh, you know, Jonathan Gannon needs to go. And all. I don't think he needs to go yet, but I think we're at a point where we need to really start paying attention to this guy and see if he can make adjustments and make adaptations, because he's not doing a very good job of that. That's something that's killing us and allowing other teams to get back in games. And this is the first time, but I don't think we're at a point where he should be in talks of him losing a job or someone else calling plays or different things like that. But we're at the point where we need to be paying attention to that because we're going up against a much better defense, a much better offense this week, I think, in Minnesota. So if we have the same type of breakdowns late in the game, if we stop playing effectively and aggressively on offense and defense, this is a game where we don't hang on by 3 points and we lose that game. So I think hopefully lessons were learned from week one. But again, the biggest thing is you want to win. We did win.
Yeah. A win is a win is a win.
Take them all day, man. Take them all day.
Take them dubs and stack them up.
Yes, sir.
I would definitely agree with what Cool said. I definitely think it was an overreaction to say Jonathan Gannon deserved to lose his job. But with that being said, like you said, he definitely needs to be on the hot seat. I mean, he needs to step up. He needs to make sure he's making adjustments a lot faster than he did last season. It took him about mid-season before we honestly saw the adjustments where the defense started to improve as the season went on. Definitely need to make that happen like week 2. Like he said, we have a tough matchup this week against Minnesota. They obviously have some solid receivers, which I'm interested in the matchups we have. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to one of you guys.
All right. And Courtney says, agreed, Eagles defense looked the same as last year. And any response to that? Looks like he's already agreeing to what you guys are saying. We have the pieces. Now time to make the adjustments.
Yep, pretty much. That's
yeah,
that's what it is.
All right, Commanders, how are you feeling about week 1?
I felt pretty good. And it's funny because I haven't talked about it in the preseason. That Carson Wentz really has 3 mental tests. Obviously, the first one was against his Jacksonville Jaguar team because obviously the relation to him and Doug Peterson, the coach of the Jaguars. So, the thing about it is, and I always say the biggest thing was the mental, like how can he overcome adversity? Like obviously in that first half, he was, doing his thing, 2 touchdowns, and then he threw 2 costly interceptions in the third and the fourth quarter. So part of me was like, oh, this is the Philadelphia Eagle that I remember, and the Indianapolis Colt, Carson Wentz, but he did take care of business in that fourth quarter when it was down. So at this point where I'm just proud of kind of what he did overcome those 2 interceptions. And it just shows you like our offense is now dynamic. We got the quarterback that can throw it to Terry, can throw it to Jahan, throw it to Curtis Samuel. You can see how they have that effect. So I'm at this point, week 1, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. And Courtney saying Commander Wentz.
Hey, I'll take it.
Carson Nakami.
I'll take it. Like I said, another what cool and shady trash is my treasure at this point. So I'm good.
That's how it ended up. And I think that the greatness of this show is that these teams intertwine players. You may have a guy that play for the Cowboys and is going to end up playing for the Eagles. You may have a guy that plays for the Giants and going to end up going to the Commanders. Like we see these teams so much, the GMs and everything, they're going to intertwine. They're going to know these players sometimes more than what they know other teams. So, all right, the New York Football Giants week 1. Wise.
Listen, they surprised everybody. Nobody thought they was going to go to Tennessee and win, but one of the keys was Saquon Barkley. Is he healthy? And to me, he showed like he's Saquon Barkley. If we can get Saquon Barkley, if he can play like this the whole year, and Daniel Jones, because I do not call him Danny Dimes, he does not deserve that name. I do not call him that. Daniel Jones, if he can limit the turnovers, I think we got a solid team. And we actually won without our 2 best edge rushers. We didn't have Aziz and we didn't have Thibodeau. Thibodeau and them, it looks like they're going to play this week. So hopefully they can put the pressure on the Panthers. I'm excited because we got some weapons, man. If they can use them, as again, it's the key is Saquon. If we have rookie Saquon, then we're looking real good because he'll probably be the best running back in the league.
Yeah, if he's healthy, that means everything. If he's not, that also means everything in the wrong direction.
Absolutely.
But if Saquon can get it together, I don't want to call him injury prone, but if the shoe fits,
it fits. It's been fitting the last few years.
Yeah, that glass slipper is fitting. So I mean, that's gonna be an issue. But so yeah, Cowboys week 1, and funny story, I went to a watch party, and of course it was mostly Cowboys fans. But we had this one guy that happened to be a Patriots fan. You know how Patriots fans are. They're also Tom Brady fans. So he had to come in there with his jersey, and he had to rag on us all night. And so it was, I left after the third quarter. There was no reason to stay and to watch the remainder of that. But I think that going down is a major thing. Cooper Rush is going to come in. Is he going to do well like what he did with the Vikings last year? That was a spot start. This is not a spot start. I'm going to be starting for about 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's going to be closer to
if you let Jerry say it, it's 4 weeks.
Yeah, Jerry must have been talking to some doctor that is not a medical not a medical doctor.
I'm gonna say the same thing I said when I first heard that. Jerry is on that good cushion alcohol.
Jerry talks out of his butt. That's what he does. Whenever they need somebody to go up and talk, they get Jerry. Jerry don't know. Jerry, it's almost like
they need a soundbite, right?
Exactly. He's less of a GM and he's more of a figurehead and more of a talker. And so it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. And Cooper Rush is going to come in. We'll see what he does. I don't think I'm going to go ahead and gift this division. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and gift it over to the Eagles right now because I don't see it. I don't see us recuperating from this unless we're able to pound the ball, which we only Zeke had 12 touches. Pollard had 5 or 6. So at this point, that's not the recipe for me.
But we already know this. We know Mike McCarthy doesn't like to run the rock. It's not new. This is not new.
No, it's not new.
Mike McCarthy would rather pass the ball 50 times than feed the beast and Zeke. You know what I'm saying? And so he's just a lame duck coach right now. I see Sean Payne being the coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year because that's who Jerry has a hard on for right now.
So you don't think he goes to Dan Quinn or Kellen Moore?
No.
Oh, Kellen Moore? Hell no.
I don't know.
Kellen is now. That's in my opinion. Jerry may think he's the boy wonder.
He might. Yeah, he might.
But he ain't ready. Right. He ain't ready, man.
Oh yeah, I don't necessarily think he's ready, but if you look at his background, obviously with Jason Garrett, he kind of worked his way up through the building like that, and he was kind of like the heir apparent to Wade Phillips. I could totally see a situation where Mike McCarthy moves on and Kellen Moore is his heir apparent.
It could happen. We've seen wilder things happen, and we've seen Jason Garrett as the coach for 10 seasons.
Those were 10 wonderful years.
10 horrible years. 500 football, baby.
It could not be as bad as the 2 years with Joe Judge and
the special teams coach, Joe Judge.
Yes, that one, and then Ben McAdoo before that. Oh, and then before that was what's his name? Oh man, see, I don't care no more about these.
Well, we have our own cross to bear. The smudge on the Philadelphia coaching tree as well. One in the term of the thumb, as I like to call him, Chip Kelly.
Yeah, wow.
Hey, to be fair, he won 20 games his first 2 seasons.
What did that equal to though?
Hey, not much, but I'm just saying, standards are high in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
A job in San Francisco. That's where they landed him.
And then out of the league.
And then UCLA.
I don't think he'll ever make it back to the league again.
His offense isn't a pro offense. It's definitely not a pro offense.
Yeah.
Shout out to Snowman in the morning. I think that's Brian Snow. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes,
He
sir.
said watching
Absolutely.
from my sick bed this evening. Hopefully you'll get well soon.
Get well soon,
sir.
brother, man.
Well,
Definitely.
Absolutely.
That's the get well, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about this Dak injury. Anybody else want to share on that? What's your thoughts? Your feelings? Anybody want to jump in?
Oh, I know it hurts you. It hurts.
Oh yeah, my heart is
And
heartbroken.
to me, it's big now because he's got to run the rock now. He's got to be forced to run the rock now because you can't expect Cooper Rush to do what Dak does. I'm saying he's a backup for the reason.
Yep.
So this to me is going to force Dallas to do what they were supposed to be doing, and that's run the rock. They have two capable running backs. That's what that line is built for. And when I don't know when Mike McCarthy's going to get like he'll like you said it I think on the Snowman in the morning where like he'll go one game and he'll run the rock and then it's looking good and then he'll go back to just passing it again and just
abandon it. Just abandon it. And to your point, Wise, guess who else is going to know that we're running the football?
Everybody.
Every other last team in the league know that's what we're going to do.
Let's take the box.
Yeah, it's not like it's not a mystery, and we're so predictable. There was who was that? Jamar Chase is already talking about it. Like, yeah, we know who Diggs is, but he's hit or miss, and we know what this team's going to do. If every team in the league knows what you're going to do, and you don't think that's a problem, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. And that's a recipe for another average 500 or below 500 season.
Yep. Insanity.
I think
insanity.
Me,
exactly.
The Dak injury for me, man, it sucks in one sense because I want to beat Dallas, right? But I want to beat Dallas when they're complete. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mind taking the dubs, if you're down. But I mean, seriously, like we talk about the division, amongst the division. When you feel like you have a good team, you want to say, "I beat you" when you're at full strength.
Hell yeah.
I beat you when you had everybody you should have. You already have the issues with the wide receiver core. Now you don't have that, so that's going to take a team that probably was going to be at least 9-8, somewhere in there, worst case scenario probably, and it pushes them down. So that makes the NFC North, who is the ringleaders of the NFC East, is the worst, and gives them more firepower. And you know why they're ringleaders of that? Because they have been garbage ever since Brett Favre was in the league. They've already had one team, and everybody else has been trash. They've had a good year here or there with the Vikings, but go back and look. They haven't been good. So it affects that. And also, I think, all jokes aside, coming into the season, I think Dak was the best quarterback in the division. So to lose him, you saw a pretty good week overall out of Jalen Hurts. You saw Carson Wentz have a solid week. You even saw the quarterback. We won't call him it. We'll just call him the quarterback for the Giants. How about that? Because I want to say it.
It's
and
Daniel
I say it.
Jones. His name is Daniel.
I know, but
Jones.
I want to say name everybody say this. I know you don't want me to say this, but that's why I just said the quarterback for the Giants.
No, his name is not Danny Dimes. Okay,
that nickname does not fit.
It is not.
I agree with you.
If he if he strains it up and he starts really dropping dimes, then I will give him the respect and call him Danny Dimes. But until then, he is Daniel Jones. That's it.
Yeah, I wanted to say it, so I was like, I'm just going to say the quarterback from the Giants before I say anything besides Daniel Jones. But you know what I'm saying? But I just think that it's interesting because there's a vacuum there now. So which quarterback is going to step up and kind of separate themselves from the others for the remainder of the season until Dak returns?
Well, right now, it's going to hurt. But to me, Carson Wentz is the best quarterback right now. Jalen Hurts to me is one read and done. Smith. Listen, he threw one pass. All right, that one pass that they called back on Smith. But other than that, Smith's supposed to be a number 2 receiver.
Yeah, but let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about that. Well, let's talk
on that. Yeah,
let's talk about that. So let me give you my perspective. Sam may agree with me, he may not. But let me give you my perspective. Last year, if you remember, we played the Lions, and Devontae Smith totally torched them. He abused them. He owned them. So obviously, you remember that, right? So you're focusing your defense more to attempt to take him out of the game. I don't think that was smart. So I'll say that. But I think their plan was to try to make sure Devontae Smith did not get off. So in doing that, Hurts was able to read the coverage and say, for some reason, this line team says we're going to take this guy away, but we're not going to worry about A.J. Brown. Or we're going to cover A.J. Brown, but we're not going to give him the doubles that we're putting on Devontae Smith. You also remember a lot of people have tried to spin this narrative that Hurts was one and done, which this is what he was last year. And I won't deny that he was, and I won't deny that there were times that he did it in this game. But if you saw, he took his time on some throws. He fitted in some nice windows. He had a couple of real good throws. He had a nice touch throw to Zach Pascal. He had a good one to Gainwell. He had a couple of nice ones to Goddard. So he did spread the ball around some, but I will say if I go 2-3 games and we're not getting Devontae Smith more involved in this offense, then that's a concern.
That's the problem.
Yeah. But I think for one game, because of how they played and how much they wanted to take Devontae Smith out the game, we use knowledge, which is something I haven't always been able to say about our offensive coordinators, and say, you know what, they're going to take him away. Fine. We'll allow them to take him away. We've got other weapons. So I think that's what happened in this particular game. Now, my concern is Quez Watkins was not targeted like he should have been. He didn't have a catch either. So my concern is that you've got to get your deep ball threat the ball at least 1 or 2 times a game, at least try to make those throws, even if they don't, give you anything. So I think that's a bigger issue for me. But I think that we're going to see Devontae Smith involved in this offense this week, because if you're the Vikings and you have any intelligence, you're not focusing on trying to take Devontae Smith away. You're focusing on trying to take A.J. Brown away. So that means Devontae Smith is going to get the one-on-ones. So that means he's going to get the opportunities this week. And this is what I envisioned when I saw the A.J. Brown pickup. And if you saw the show I was on at the time, when I saw the information, I was like, for like 2 minutes, I was just frozen in happiness. You know what I'm saying? But I think for me, that's it. Sam, you might have something you want to add to it, but that's kind of how I saw this particular game.
The only thing I would add is the fact that I believe that every team in the NFC East is really built that way to kind of win shootouts, because at the end of the day, we're all competing with Dallas. And I know that sounds kind of goofy, but Dak Prescott's the only established quarterback in the division, quite honestly. So with that being said, they've built their offense around Prescott in the passing game, even though they have Zeke and Pollard there. As we talked about, McCarthy likes to pass the ball first. So with that being said, I mean, honestly, I think all these teams are built this way. The only one that's kind of kicking the trends, and I think it's going to end up paying off dividends in the win department, is the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get to this comment real quick. This is my man CJ. He said, "Man, you got to practice Thursday on." Jerry Jones said we got to be at Cowboys Stadium 9 a.m. Yeah, that's the comment. That's the comment of the night so far. Right there.
That is definitely the comment of the night.
Hey, yeah, I was there, but they sent me home. Jerry was like, "No, I don't need you, man. You too big." But hey, CJ is athletic. He a boxer, so you can be starting third wide receiver. We got the practice squad dude out there playing full rep. So,
right. All
right, Coach Couch, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I think it's very unfortunate. Obviously, like almost echo everybody's sentiments, where Dak was at least going to get you to 8, 9, 10 wins potentially, and for him to, it's just for personal reasons. He's just dealt with so many adversity. Obviously, the injury that happened in 2020, then it kind of come back in 2021, and then now having a setback like this is kind of rough for him. But speak for yourself when it comes for playing for, when you said cool as far as you want to play him at full strength. I'm good, because at the end of the day, we all know how this happened. When we play each other, none of us gonna be 100%. Y'all seen us, and we played each other worse, and I don't care. I can beat y'all for Andy Dalton or Ben DiNucci. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Don't say that, man. Don't say that. Don't say Ben DiNucci. He on the practice squad of the practice squad. He ain't getting no run this year.
But yeah, very unfortunate for Dak. But in real talk, hey, It is what it is. Me
Yeah.
personally, I got love for Dak, and hopefully a speedy recovery. And like you said, Jerry talked about 4 weeks. Thank God, Stephen Jones is in the building. We have an adult in the building.
Yes,
Like,
thank you. Sit to the back, child. So sit to the kids' table,
right,
and
like,
eat your gummy bears and your
right.
animal crackers. All right.
Right. Like 4 weeks, I'm like, no. Like,
The applesauce packets.
Applesauce packets, exactly. Right.
right.
And I think people still on this narrative that Jerry runs the team. He does not. He is only the person that they bring up there to do radio interviews. He'll go on First Take. He's the talking figure. He no longer makes major decisions. Now he'll make business decisions for sure. He'll make decisions on the stadium. He'll make decisions on sales and all this other stuff. But when it comes to football decisions, Stephen Jones makes the majority of them, and the other way is Will McClay, who's kind of the de facto, GM, if you will. But I think people still on the same narrative, and it's not true. I mean, whatever the mistakes they're making is from the Jerry Jones family, obviously, because if Steven's making decisions. But yeah, Jerry's done at this point. Let's see, we got another comment here. He said, Ben, you can try for left tackle. I'm gonna try for wide receiver. Hey, I'm trying to get it with them boys. And Tyler Smith did a good job. His number was not called. I think it was called once or twice on him as far as penalties. So that was a big concern for that line. Obviously, Tyler Smith going down, but I think Tyler Smith did a pretty good job for being a rookie and not having any reps at left tackle besides before the game, basically, or before after Tyler Smith got injured. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I was so fearful because I was so scared that your boy Collinsworth was gonna call him out the whole night. But here's a guy that missed his block assignment. And here's a guy that missed this.
I was waiting for him to get torched. Yeah,
bro. Yes.
Yeah. All right, Wise. The comment as far as the Eagles, the one and done. You wanted to touch any more on that as far as
listen. Hurts he's talented. He's a talented quarterback. I just need to see him more. I need to see more from him. He has shown me that he can read coverages and not just rely on AJ Brown. He has a lot of weapons. The Eagles are loaded, but they also got to worry about Miles Sanders. What are they going to do with Miles Sanders? They need to get that running game going. He's supposed to be a big part of their offense as well. So if they can get Miles Sanders going, it might help him as well. It might help Hurts because now they can't focus on him and they have to worry about the run as well. So if that's the case, then if they can get Miles Sanders going, he's in good shape. Yeah,
I agree.
I'll say he had 13 for 96 this past game. So good start, but to Wise's point, 1 week does not make a season. Like he's got to show the consistency. There's a lot of good throws. He made a lot of tight window throws. But there were some times where you felt like there was like one read, maybe a pre-snap read, one read during the play, and then he took off. But some of those were needed because the first, I think 2, maybe 3 drives, my boy was under duress. Okay. He was under duress. It's like the line decided to just be matadors. Olay. And them boys was back there. It was crazy. I was like, this line is better than that. But those first couple of drives, man, Hurts got the ball, looked, and there was a defender in his face. And I just felt like, come on, man. But they did get it together. They kind of gave him some more time after those first couple of drives. And the thing that we don't want to happen again, we cannot give up 7 points in the first 2 minutes of the game because we give up a 50-yard run in the first play to the other team. That does not need to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I want to pose this question towards the Commanders and to the group, period. Do you think Carson Wentz's confidence is shot? Because that was my concern. Obviously, I'm not a Commanders fan, but that was my concern with Commanders picking him up is that he's been to all these places and he's been traded and released and traded and released. So is his confidence shot? And I'm gonna kick it to you.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think at this point in his career where he has the best. Yeah. Okay. So he can essentially he has better weapons now. Obviously, the cupboard was bare in Philly. We all know Cool. We all know Shady. The cupboard was bare, and also a little bit bare, and also Indianapolis, obviously with the exception of like Jonathan Taylor. But I don't necessarily think. I think it's more so he's at a point now. I think he is at a point he want to prove something because obviously the Philadelphia situation, regardless of what's going to happen, him getting that injury, then Nick Foles winning the Super Bowl, anybody, all of us would have lost their confidence in that regard. I mean, so. And then I think the whole thing with Jim Irsay, those comments pretty much as if he's like trash, whatever. Please motivates him. And I think even in that fourth quarter, especially that interception that Trayvon Walker had, and he came back immediately after that and threw a 49-yard bomb to Terry, and then also the game winner with Jahan. So I don't think it's at this point, we're talking September the 17th, for this situation, I don't think his confidence is shot yet. But maybe in a few weeks, we can revisit that.
Yeah, that's where I was going, and you guys can chime in as well. That's where I was going. What is it going to take, though, for it to get shot? Is it a reporter that's going to say, you threw 3 picks this game, you trash? Is it going to take the GM telling him, we got to look at the quarterback position? Like, what is it going to take? Because he's not I don't think he's a very, and this may be a little rude, but I don't think he's very mentally strong. I just don't. Now, maybe he has gotten better.
Yeah.
But being in Philly, obviously, that's a hard place to be in. Indy's not as hard as far as the media, but now, going to Washington.
And I think it's and like I said, because it was 3, like I always said in the beginning of the season, it was 3 mental tests. Obviously, the week one against obviously with Doug Peterson knows everything about Carson Wentz. Yep. Then we have the week 8 against Indianapolis at Indianapolis. So he'll hear like the sequence of boos, and it's going to be indoors. So that'd be interesting. And then the Monday Night Football game, and especially with how Washington's history on Monday Night Football, that's the ultimate test for me. And for him to go back to Philly, we all know how it's going to be. Hell, they boo Santa Claus. They're gonna crush. They're gonna crush Carson Wentz,
and throwing batteries at him.
And they throw batteries at him, right? And throw anything but the kitchen sink. And we ain't talking about a blitz. But so that's where, and that'll be a perfect time for him because that's like November the 14th, I think, or something, right around that window. So that's where that's going to be crucial for him, where he can essentially take that mental test because that'd be right in the teeth of the season. So if he wins, if he goes to Philadelphia on Monday Night Football in November and succeed, no ill will towards him, no comments, and I can shut Cool and Shady out for the rest of the year.
Well, I'm letting you say something. I'm waiting to the end.
Okay, that works.
I'm done. Yeah.
I was going to say, honestly, Washington might be exactly what he needs because how do I want to say this without saying something detrimental to Washington? More like the expectations are at a reasonable level. In Indianapolis, it's pretty much Super Bowl or bust. Let's be honest. They think Frank Reich's a Super Bowl coach. They think they have a Super Bowl defense. They think they have a solid, coordinator with Gus Bradley there now. So they ultimately think that team should be in a Super Bowl, and they didn't think Carson Wentz was going to put him there. With that being said, this works in Carson Wentz's defense because when he's in Washington, he can throw an interception here and there, and it's not going to be all over the front page next season or, the next week because it's not the same pressure level in Washington that it necessarily was in Indy or in Philadelphia, right off of Nick Foles winning a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
One thing about that, I think there is pressure in a weird way because now you think about it, we haven't had this type of quarterback play in almost 10 years. You think about don't laugh, guys, but for us having the 28 points, that's the most we've scored in a home opener since 2012. So it's like you said, And that's what going forward. I think maybe if he does good this year, maybe like next year, I think, like you said, what expectations might be a little bit higher. So the bar might be low for him now, but in DC, they was I swear to you, that's why I stay off of social media during games. Like it's literally a cesspool of like bad takes, and I just can't take it. The Trayvon Walker play, everybody was like, "Oh gosh, let's get ready for Sam Howell." Sam Howell didn't dress. What are y'all talking about? Like he's inactive. Like what are you?
Sam Howell
about?
ain't ready. Stop that.
No, right? And they're like, "Oh, put in Sam or put in Taylor." No, like Trayvon Walker made a hell of a play. That play let you know that's the reason why he's number 1 overall pick. That range and athleticism. That's why he got drafted number 1. You just eat it, and luckily he ate it, and then we went back down the field. But everybody was so like, "Oh, let's bring somebody." We can't bring somebody in that's not dressed. Like
people, these takes, man. You're right though. You got to stay off because overreaction Monday. People lose their mind. Fire everybody.
Exactly.
Like, last week you were so excited about everybody. Now you want to fire everybody? Like, all right, Wise.
Oh man, Washington. Listen, if to me, I thought it was going to be a big game because of his collapse last year in Jacksonville when they lost to Jacksonville. So to me, I thought it was if he could overcome that nightmare and play well, then they have something. Because I think Ron Rivera is a great coach. They have a great defense. They have some studs on defense. They have a running back who just came back from injury. I love McLaren. He's on both of my fantasy football teams, and Samuel showed he can play as well. So Washington to me is a dangerous team. If Carson Wentz can play like that MVP candidate he was prior he getting hurt that Super Bowl year, Washington can be a dangerous team.
All right, cool.
Carson Wentz has all the talent in the world. Carson Wentz should be a top 10 quarterback. Carson Wentz is soft here. That doesn't change because he's in Washington. It doesn't change because he's in Indianapolis. It doesn't change because he's in Philly. This is where it starts. So people talk about, CJ made a comment talking about Jalen Hurts and his QB IQ. So we know for times we saw in practice when Carson Wentz was in Philly, he's talking about hunting. He's talking about going home and hunting. He's not focused on practice. You're at the game. You're at practice to be a quarterback in the NFL. You're more worried about you're going to go hunt some deer after practice, right? Then CJ made another comment that I agree with, actually. A lot of people in Philadelphia want to heap a lot of praise on Carson Wentz for the Super Bowl season. Carson Wentz was the reason that we were number 1 at the time that Nick Foles became the quarterback. Carson Wentz didn't win a playoff game. Carson Wentz did win a game down the stretch. Carson Wentz was not part of the Philly special. He was on the sideline on crutches. So to me, it took us 2 quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl. It took us one the first 11 games. It took another to take us from there to the Super Bowl. Since then, we have saw the weak mental stability of Carson Wentz. Couch coach, you my guy, but you have a weak-minded QB, and he will show that weakness when the pressure really comes. Period.
You know what, cool? I sure wish Julio Jones caught that pass in that divisional game to beat y'all. Like so you'd be ringless.
You know what, couch coach? Thank you for the hate. Because what I want you to remember is the mantra in Philadelphia is no one likes us and we don't care.
Damn, Julio Jones, why you didn't catch that pass in the corner of the end zone?
Because he wasn't good enough to catch it. That's why, sir.
There's a reason why he's a 4th-string wide receiver on Tampa Bay right now.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, shots fired.
Wow.
Ouch.
Wow.
I did want to ask you something, Ben. I'm curious. Do you think Dallas ultimately acquires a quarterback?
No.
No.
For a couple of reasons. Number one, they don't like change.
So they're going.
They're going with Cooper Rush.
They're going with Cooper Rush
They're going with Cooper Rush hands down.
It is DiNucci going to be his backup?
No, Will Greer's
Greer is okay.
Yeah.
Greer from I think Florida and West Virginia. I think he was at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They number one, they don't like change. Number two, they don't like spending money. And number three, they've been growing. I'll tell you, Dallas radio, they've been talking about this Minnesota game all training camp in regards to Cooper Rush. And I'm like, bro, that was a year ago. That's not this year. That's not now. And who knows if he can duplicate that? Who knows if he's able to do that again? So to Sam, no, they're not. I don't see them picking up anyone. They barely they had to be coerced to reach out to Peters. They had to have literally the whole fan base tweet at the Dallas Cowboys for them to even look at Peters. So yeah, it's not happening. Now we do have a fantasy question real quick. You guys want to jump in on this? From Duke Kent, thank you for tuning in. He says flex, Antonio Gibson, AJ Dillon, or Henderson.
I low key want to put a hat in the ring for my guy. Don't laugh, cool.
Hey, man.
I didn't peep that. At least he tried to cover his face, though.
Oh man, it's gonna be interesting, especially us playing the Detroit defense, and they're stout. You know what? I'm talking myself out of AG, but then I'm like, I don't want you to be last place down in New Jersey at the end of the season because your week 2 collapsed. So, what you got? What y'all got?
I got Dillon. I'm gonna go with Dillon. Dillon is a goal line beast. He gonna get the rock at the goal line a couple times.
And, because they can play the Bears. So he owns Aaron Rodgers like the he should be a McCaskey because he owns the Bears.
Well, see, you got. So I wouldn't say Gibson. I would say it's between Dillon and Henderson. The reason I would even consider Henderson is because the Rams have not shown me that they're willing to commit to Cam Akers yet. So if you're not going to commit to Cam Akers, then Henderson's going to get the boatload of the carries, goal line and otherwise. So if that's the case, then that at least makes me consider Henderson. But I do think that you make a very good argument, Ben, about Dillon as well. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those. But for me, I may lead slightly toward Henderson because I think he's going to get more of the load. He's going to have more opportunities.
I agree. That's a good point.
Ben's been reading my articles on my website because Darrell Henderson was one of my waiver wire pickups of the week. He's definitely a guy that you definitely want to have on your team right now because not only is he effective in the run game and he's getting the majority of the touches, but he's also effective in the passing game. So anytime you're playing in any league, whether it's a PPR league or a non-PPR league, dual threat running backs are the way to go. If you're in a PPR league, there's no other man on that list than you want than DJ or Darrell Henderson.
Why? So you going with?
It's the Packers and the Bears, right?
Antonio Gibson, AJ Dillon, or Darrell Henderson for a flex.
For a flex?
Yep.
Yeah, Packers playing the Bears though. Yes.
And the Rams are playing
the Falcons.
See, they're playing the cupcake too.
I know, and it's just like, which cupcake got the most frosting? Honestly,
right, exactly. This one got the most sprinkles.
I feel like Atlanta got the most sprinkles.
That's I think so too. Right?
Man, I'm gonna go with AJ Dillon on this one.
Okay,
that's fair.
AJ Dillon.
I think Gibson's gonna be splitting with
McKissick.
McKissick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's get into week 2. Let's talk about the week 2 matchup as we kind of round it out here. Week 2. Let's go to Cool first. Eagles week 2.
Prime time. This is an opportunity for us to see, for everyone to actually watch Jalen Hurts play. I think a lot of the commentary on him is based on people who didn't see our game, who are starting some of this commentary. So this is a chance to see him. So this goes one of two ways, real talk. Either he comes in, he plays well, he makes the throws, he plays like the quarterback that me and Sam thinks he can be. or he comes in, he has an okay game, it's enough for us to win, but he doesn't solidify himself as a guy that's greatly improved. If the defense handles business, which I do believe they will, because coaching or not, I think you have enough veteran players on this team. This defense is going to be better than it was every week as they gel. There's a lot of new pieces there, but I think you have a lot of guys that are going to say, okay, whatever, this is what we need to do to win. You have defensive captains. You have people that can audible out of those plays on defense. That's what needs to start happening if the wrong calls are being made. There is no such thing as we've got the game in the bag. Let's start playing prevent. Let's not do that again. Keep your foot on the other team's throat until you choke them out.
Yes, 100%. All right, we could go to you, Sam. Keeping on the Eagles.
This is why I wanted to do a show with Cool, because honestly, he took the words right out of my mouth. Everything he said was spot on. Quite honestly, Jalen Hurts is a guy who this upcoming week, he could prove a lot of doubters wrong, or we could hear nothing but critics come out of the woodwork for the next couple weeks until he proves them wrong once again in prime time. Because like you said, a lot of the guys that are commenting on his play have never even seen him play. Primarily, we haven't had a lot of primetime games since he's been the quarterback because we were middle of the road type team. So with that being said, I think Jonathan Gannon has something personal to prove this upcoming week, due to what happened last week and the fact that the Vikings are his former team. He coached there for a while. So he's going to have this as kind of a personal matchup. He wants to win this one, and he wants his defense to show out well. So I think this is going to be a victory, but ultimately I think it's going to be a really close game still.
We got a comment from CJ. I'll be honest, I'm still waiting on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts hasn't been in the league for too long, but he still has a lot he can develop. And it's true. That's a solid comment.
Yeah, this is only his second actual season started. You think about it. First season, he started a couple of garbage games that we were pretty much throwing away, trying to lose for some strange reason. And then last year, he didn't really reach a full 16 starts until week 15 or something, or 14 or whatever. It was late in the season before he even had an official 16 starts. So I think, that year season was very important for him. I think a big moment for him was actually the terrible game in Tampa Bay. This is a bad game. There's no excuses. It's a bad game. But playoff debut, you're playing against a team that's looking to win a championship. And let's be honest, the Eagles defensively were not going to be able to win a championship last year because no matter how much you score, you have to stop the other team to win. So I think that better position on defense this year, that's going to help. Hurts needs to definitely show the improvement that he did in the offseason, show what he did in training camp. And I'm hoping he can do that. One of the things I don't like about preseason, and this goes for almost all the teams, we don't hit. We don't do the things that used to be done in the preseason. So these regular season games, especially for the starters for most teams, are the first time they're really getting hit. That's a whole different feeling when you're getting blasted than when you're just making throws and no one's hitting you. So I think that may affect a lot of these guys the first week or two of the season because they got to get back into, I know the hit's coming, I still got to make the throw, versus I can make the throw because I'm not going to get hit.
Right. All right, Giants week 2 wise against Carolina Panthers.
Oh man, it's Saquon has the same game he had last week, being named NFC Offensive Player of the Week. We got a good shot, man. I'm not. Baker Mayfield puts no fear in my heart, and if we have Thibodeau and Aziz back, our defense would be much better than it was, and it wasn't that bad. It actually held down King Henry. He didn't really go crazy. I'm excited. Daniel Jones has to hold on to the ball, stop fumbling. That interception was horrible in the end zone. If it wasn't for that muff punt and the defense stepping up, we would have been 0-1. So if Aziz is back, Thibodeau's back, and a full dose of Saquon, we're looking good this week.
Yeah.
Hey, Wise.
Yes.
Who has a higher ceiling, Jalen Hurts or Daniel Jones?
Oh man. You know what? But the
good
thing
question.
is, all right. People underestimate Daniel Jones. He is athletic. He has an arm. He is mobile. If Dayball could correct those mistakes, Daniel Jones can be a quality quarterback. Jalen Hurts, he has a lot of upside. He just needs to show me that he can be a quarterback at the next level. This is in college. Everybody here is fast.
Yeah,
it's not like in college where you have to worry about certain players because everybody in the NFL is fast. This is a fast game. If he can slow the game down, Jalen Hurts has all the potential in the world. But a lot of people underestimate Daniel Jones. I just feel if Dayball could work his magic like what he did with Josh Allen, and I'm not saying Daniel Jones is Josh Allen at all, but he has those qualities. He has that arm. He is an athletic quarterback. Now, can he get over his mental lapses of fumbling the ball and throwing it into bad situations? If he can overcome his mental lapses, sky's the limit for Daniel Jones.
Okay. Can I say one thing? So I live in Charlotte, so I hear about the Panthers all the time. Every time I listen to sports radio, all you hear is Panthers, right? News, all you hear is Panthers. So I think the Giants are going to beat the Panthers. The Panthers are in disarray. They don't trust their coach. The fan base hates him. They want him gone. They're not fond of the ownership. I know you asked, what does this have to do with the game? The coaching staff is scared to play Christian McCaffrey like they need to. The hope that the Panthers have to actually beat a team like the Giants is they have to be able to run the ball and control the clock, right? Because you don't want Baker Mayfield out there throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game. If you're only going to give McCaffrey 12 to 15 touches because you're scared that he's going to get hurt, he loses his effectiveness. If he can't be their Saquon Barkley to your Saquon Barkley the way he played last week, that's going to be a big problem that they don't have the ability to overcome. So I think that you can beat the Panthers, and they have some problems with their interior defense as far as their linebacking core and their safeties, and them taking poor angles for tackles and a lot of poor things that they did in that game. I've heard about them all week. So I think that unless they somehow become a much better team with a few practices this week, I think the Giants are getting them at a really good time to get a win.
Listen, other than Saquon Barkley, when you look at injury prone, it's Christian McCaffrey. Right.
Look that up in the dictionary.
Look, bro,
he's right there.
Honestly, I would flip him. I truthfully would flip because Barkley will have a couple of good games at least before he gets hurt. And he'll get hurt on, like, in the past. I won't say now because, hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Hopefully neither one of them do. Yeah. But I think for Barkley, it's been more like freak things happen. Like he's trying to cut. He's trying to make a move. He gets hit. He goes the wrong way. McCaffrey, it's like you plan for him to play 8 to 10 games a year. He had 1 year where he played the full year. The rest of the time, we jokingly on my show called him Street Curls McCaffrey because that's where he's at most of the time.
Exactly. Yeah, and if they put him on one more fantasy football promo or one more NFL promo, you can't have a dude on a promo that has only played one full season. You mean to tell me there's no one else?
That's the same thing as putting Anthony Davis on NBA stuff.
Why? Why would you put him on the promo? He's not going to be playing.
This is true.
But I think to everybody's point, I think McCaffrey is definitely important for this team. I think they settled on Baker, maybe because the deal was good or whatever. But you're not winning anything major with Baker Mayfield. Period. So
but more that you win with Sam Darnold, though.
Yeah, you mean Jimmy Neutron or?
Oh, you mean I see ghosts?
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Mono. Didn't he have mono when he was with the Jets?
Yes, he did.
Yes,
he did.
And I thought that was gonna be his year too. And I was like, oh, he caught mono. I was like, oh no, like, yeah, I remember that too.
I remember that too, man.
Yeah, man.
I wasn't gonna go there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, keep it real. Keep it real. All right, let's go to the Commanders week 2 versus the Lions.
Wow, this is gonna be a definitely interesting matchup. Obviously, there's been so much jokes about us. Obviously, that we're underdog, and this is the first time in 25 games that the Detroit Lions are actually favored in the matchup. And then also too, where in the last 6 matchups that we've had with the Detroit Lions, they won 5 of them. So this is going to definitely be a very interesting matchup. Obviously, Carson Wentz. What can he do after obviously the week 1 performance? The biggest key I think is not turning the football over. And I think having those 3 turnovers against Jacksonville, that can work. But if you have 3 interceptions against this Detroit Lions team, you're not leaving Detroit with a win. So that, and then just defense to get pressure on Jared Goff and potentially create some turnovers, like our guy DeForest did his thing last week, DeForest, and so this is going to be a matchup where Washington really got to. It almost kind of have a feeling where you got to keep your foot on the gas, and you can't let this team let off. Like obviously, you see what happened last week against Philly, where they were coming back, and this is a team that will always fight. And like I said, this is actually the Dan Campbell knee biting team that he envisioned in that press conference 2 years ago. So we got a battle. We got I always say you pack your lunch. We might have to pack 2 lunches in this matchup.
Probably.
Yeah.
pack a lunch and a snack.
Yeah.
I'm too excited to see if they're as good as they looked against us, or if it was just a combination of poor play calling, first game, defense not gelled yet. I'm interested to see, because I think that even with what y'all are missing now, the Commanders are still a solid team, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna lose next week, but still a solid team.
Perhaps. We'll see.
I would say otherwise. Actually, I think the Commanders are going to blow the Lions out. The Commanders' defense is so talented that I don't think Jared Goff is going to have a chance to throw the ball more often than not. You got to look at that defensive line. I mean, that front 7 in general is just unreal in terms of talent.
And I think Renfro, I forgot their one of their offensive tackles is out. I forgot. I don't know his name. It's not Renfro. I forgot his last name, but I don't know why I said Renfro. But yeah, one of the offensive linemen are out. So that's, like you said, a good opportunity too. And we definitely had to get penetration on Jared Goff, because TJ Hawkinson on Jamin Davis, I'm scared. I might have a nightmare tonight thinking about that. Just a simple fact.
Dreaming about that.
Having nightmares. So I might have a sleepless night tonight just thinking about that matchup. So
just know at some point, Goff is gonna make a mistake.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of you guys capitalize off of it. But at some point, he's gonna make a mistake.
Yep.
All right. Cowboys week 2 versus the Bengals. This is a bad draw, because obviously the Bengals lost in the overtime game, and I believe teams bounce back after losing games. I think Joe Burrow is going to be ready. Like I said earlier, Jamar Chase is already talking. He's already in Diggs' head before the game even starts. Before the week even started, he was already in his head. So I think for the Cowboys to win this game, defense is going to have to show up big time. Pressures, sacks, interceptions. Diggs cannot be over aggressive, because that will cause him to get burnt multiple times. And I think the Cowboys are going to go away with an L in this one. I think it's just going to be too much. I think and when it comes to Cooper Rush, yes, he did it last year against the Vikings. But again, like I said, that was last year. It's a complete year. And I'm sure all of the Bengals have watched the tape that they needed to watch on Cooper. And it's going to be running game and defense. If they have a chance to win this game, it's going to be running game and defense. If it's depending on Cooper Rush winning the game for them, that's not going to work. It is a home game. And I'm going to go ahead and say I think the Cowboys are going to get an L. CJ says, no cap, if Cooper Rush wins at least 3 games for us, it will be fine with him being the starting quarterback instead of Dak. And yeah, it is definitely going to turn into a numbers game. How many games is he going to be able to win? This one is going to be a tough matchup, though. They did not make it to the Super Bowl for nothing last year, but also they are going to want to bounce back. And Chase is going to be hard to cover. There's really nobody. Diggs has that what they call catch up speed, where he's able to let the wide receiver get past him, but then he's able to catch up. But I don't know if that recipe wins. And teams obviously teams watch film. They watch the film from last year, so it's not as if they're going to think the Cowboys can just do the same thing they did and expect the same result, because teams improve every year. And I'm not 100% sure if this defense gradually improved. And Jalen Curse may be out, and that's going to be a big problem because he's that slot guy. So we'll see how this works out. But I'm gonna pick it a L.
I actually wanted to say something about that. I believe the Cowboys have a better chance in this game that a lot of people are going to give them credit for. Joe Burrow obviously had a pretty rough game last week in terms of turnovers. And if there's one defense in the NFL that can capitalize on plays like that, it's the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you're talking about a defense that we saw the last season, Trevon Diggs. It seemed like it was either boom or bust with him. But you could say the same about Joe Burrow this season so far. It's a lot of boom or bust with him. And last week it was a lot of bust. And that could be potentially the same exact thing we see this week. If the Cowboys turn around and then run the ball well, there's a good potential for them to find the victory this week.
Yeah, but you're right. And that running game is going to be key. So don't abandon it early. Stick to it. I mean, and it's not as if you just have running back. You got Zeke and Pollard. Pollard is the perfect change of pace back. He can really catch out of the backfield. He can really do some of everything. I think the Cowboys' biggest concern is his pass blocking is the issue that they have with why he doesn't get more run. That's what they talk about here in Dallas. So, all right,
put them both together. Put them both in the backfield together.
Yeah, I mean, use the creativity. They say that Kellen Moore is a boy wonder, and he's got all this genius. I mean, use it, and not on screenplays, okay, and not on reverses, because they tried that twice, and it was all for a loss. So, thank you everybody for tuning in. First episode of the NFC Beast. We will be back next week. Final thoughts. We'll kind of go around the horn. Cool. Final thoughts.
Yeah, man. I'm actually going to talk about your boys for a minute here.
Okay.
Micah Parsons, I think, is going to play a big role. Kind of to echo what Sam was just saying, getting to Burrow, roughing his feathers. They're also going to be down a receiver, if I read correctly from the injury report. So one of those vaunted weapons is not going to be there. And I think that when you count a team out, I think you're missing big players. Everyone's pretty much said you're going to lose. You go out, you play free, you play loose, you have nothing to lose. I hope Dallas wins this game. I would love to see Dallas hand the runner-up team to the Super Bowl their second loss in 2 weeks. That would be very joyful for me. And that gives me more crap to talk on how the NFC is better than people want to give credit for the NFC East. That's why we the beast.
I love it. All right, Wise.
Oh man, I'm excited for this season. The Giants, hopefully, they can start off 3-0 because next week we got Dallas. That'll be. I get to rub that in Ben's face if we do.
Oh yeah.
He started a week early. He like me.
Oh no, listen, because it hurt me to actually pick Dallas to win the division, man. It hurt. Ben enjoyed it though.
I did.
He enjoyed it.
But it hurt me. I got the recording. I'm gonna pull it out.
It hurt me to say it. It actually hurt me to say it. But I'm excited for the Giants football. Actually, we finally got a coach. We finally got a GM that knows what he's doing, because I did not trust David Gettleman. How do you get a job after failing in Carolina? I don't know. But I'm happy with Joe Shane and Brian Dable. They building something really good in New York. So I'm excited. Saquon has to stay healthy for us, man. That's the key. Yeah. We need that. And It's gonna be a great season in the NFC East, man.
Health is very important for all of our teams, really, because we are all one player away from it going south. So now to that injury report, Dak's out, Gallup's out, McGovern's out, Jaron Kearse is out, Tyler Basham's on IR, Chris Harris, T. Higgins is questionable. So if T. Higgins does not play, I think that's probably the wide receiver you were talking about.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what this looks like. But Jaron Kearse is a very important part of this defense, so he will be missed. All right, Couch Coach.
Yeah. Once again, great show. Like you said, all the collective of the best division there is in football, and unlike Cool and Wise, I don't put the cart before the horse. I'm a week by week guy. So, and I love it because obviously Cool. I have bulletin board material for the rest of the week. So, I'm good with that. I love it. I love the banter behind that, and I'm gonna clip it and I'm gonna send it to Ron Rivera. So he'll have it. He'll have it on a plane ride from Detroit.
Send it.
Have it in his back pocket.
Yeah.
You don't want Carson Wentz to hear it because that might be enough to push him over the edge. So make sure you don't let him hear it.
You got to have noise canceling headphones everywhere. You getting a sandwich at Subway, it would be a wrap for him.
Lord.
All right, Sam.
Once again, guys, just super excited to work with you all season long. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, we're blessed to cover one of the best divisions in football, quite honestly. I mean, we're all very lucky to have teams that are competitive almost every season. Typically, there's a different division leader every year. So that's what makes it fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing how everything shakes out by the end of the year, because honestly, no matter who's injured, no matter what, this is going to be competitive gameplay. I mean, especially interdivision games, because it always is. We always play to each other's level.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking forward to this show. I love the collective that we have. Everybody, we all do our own shows, and we all come in with the fire for our team. So it's going to be great. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Before we get out of here, Sam Darnold looks like this guy.
That's awesome.
Oh wow.
I think that's the guy from The Incredibles.
It is.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah, the Incredibles.
The Incredibles 1. It was from part 1.
Was it one?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's his lookalike. So thank you everybody for tuning in though tonight. Make sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. We got Shady Sports Network, we got the Play Callers, we got Eagles Elite, and we got BSU Network. So do that tonight. That's your homework assignment. Whenever you're watching this, also Wise Productions, and then Couch Coach. I'm not sure if you have a YouTube channel or not, but if you want to shout that out too.
Yeah, Couch Coach Live, pretty much Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. Couch Coach Live. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
And me, it's Stuck in My Mind podcast on on all major platforms. My YouTube channel is Stuck in My Mind podcast. We also have Real Wise TV, which Ben, if you can send me the copy of this so I can put it on Real Wise TV as well.
Definitely.
And catch me on Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson every Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. And he will always say it's not
Friday.
Wednesday.
It's not Wednesday. It's not Wednesday.
It's not Bronsexual Wednesday. So
yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Peace.